Hello, hello everyone. It's Sunday. It's 2 p.m. Central. We're live, unscripted, unfiltered. Brain is mush. AmyR, this me. Welcome to Face, Crafting Space, unpaid interns in the corner.
That's a me.
He's gonna help. And yeah, it's Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all who partake, celebrate, whatever. And for those that today is a hard day, I send virtual hugs for that. I debated going live today more so because I was like, you know what, I would like to sleep.
Right.
You know, but schedules and all the things. So, and also because I am gonna be missing 12, 31. The chance of me going live, I may go live next Sunday. It might be later. I will be playing it by ear because next Sunday is my class for the Altenew Secret Garden Retreat. So technically my class ends like half an hour before I normally go live, like right before 2 p.m. Central. And yeah, I guess we'll be playing it by ear. We'll be playing it by ear. Whether or not I do a live, I still might, but I might bump it a little later, or I may skip because I've got a lot on my plate. Got a lot on my plate, but yeah, we're going live, and yeah, we'll just see. And people can tune into the, replay or whatever, because a lot of people are out and about and doing things and what have you.
Yep.
I don't leave my house on any form of special occasion. We had to leave our house yesterday. It was chaotic. There was people just everywhere. And Chris hinted a couple times about like hitting up the greenhouses because I was just like, he knows. We love it. But I was like, I ain't going anywhere near a greenhouse on Mother's Day weekend. Wall-to-wall people. It's not enjoyable. So anyway, hello to everybody. And yes, the cards have been going out. People have been receiving the live stream winners because I mailed those out a week ago. Whenever it was. A little just before, because it was just before last week's. Just a little over a week ago, and people are already starting to receive them, which is also really fabulous. So, yeah, the cards are going out. I got caught up. I'm now have just last week's that I need to mail out, and then today's. And yeah. Oh, and then yes, those that are watching live or that catch the replay like early, because this ends tonight, I put it in the description box below the video, over at Simon Says Stamp. Anyone who wants to, place orders, whatever, if your order's over, I think it was over 100 was the thinger. If your order's over $100 more, if you use the code just MOM, M-O-M, you get $15 off your order. But that does end tonight. So I've got the info below, the code, the link, all the things. And yeah, it ends at 11:59 Eastern tonight, which is like 10 p.m. Central Time. Something like that. I always forget. Or before that. Time zones, all the things. Whatever 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time is when it ends. So, cool. Yeah, everything's been showing up and everything's so far so good. And yeah, I am doing most definitely oldie but goodies today. Everything is oldies but goodies, specifically the beautiful flowers stamp set that I have done dozens upon dozens of videos. I've done live streams, multiple live streams using this set. I had it pulled out to do a different video, and then the whole project just went sideways. It was awful. And so I scrapped the whole thing, and then I had another idea, and that's why I'm going actually going live today, because I was like, I had nothing, but then I was like, oh, I was gonna film this anyways, so let's do it live and see what happens. So everything is linked. I linked my playlist. That is linked in the description box below as well. And then when the live stream's over and YouTube's process it, I always put that kind of stuff in the very end screen. That applies to all my videos. I link, playlists and other videos, things like that, and you can just click on it. So yeah, just cannot go wrong with the oldie but goodie favorites, which, okay, I was like, I already lost the stamp. It was sitting right in front of me, y'all. I honestly should have just like had a nap today, but maybe I'll have one after the live.
That's probably a good idea.
So that would be nice. A nap would be nice. I have so many things I need to do though, but yeah, we're going to use one of my all-time favorites, which, you know, you can use large florals. There's a million of them. I love them. For whatever reason, and I know it's not directly related to me, but for whatever reason, a lot of people have become very, like, I don't know, against florals and large florals. And I'm just like, but why? Flowers are great. They go with everything. And yeah, if you don't like them, whatever. But you can't go wrong with a good floral. That's my thought. So, anywho, let me figure out what I'm doing. Like, there we go. There we go. And yep, already my lighting is off on the face down camera, but that's okay. It'll hopefully smarten out. But yeah, very stained. Again, this set is very well loved. And I talk about this a lot. When it comes to photopolymer stamps, they stain. That's just the name of the game. Different inks will stain them. Different types of inks, whatever. The more stained they are, the better they work. But also just, I cannot stress this enough because that's been something that has been since like, specifically again in card making, more than like any other art style of craft, hobby, etc. The need to keep things like pristine. Again, perfection's overrated, but also to keep things like brand new looking. You gotta take that thought, write it on a piece of paper, crumple it up, light it on fire. You know, you'll feel better. Trust me. And especially with photopolymer, the more you use it, the better it works. Literally, because new brand new stamps, when they're brand new, there's usually a little bit of a coating on them, so you can like rub your hands on them. The more you ink them up and use it, the better it works. This stamp with all of its detail stamps just so good because I've used it a bajillion times, like dozens of videos, so many times, and it works amazing. So yeah, we're going to use it, probably use some stamps. And so again, this stamp is, I don't remember what year this stamp set came out. It's been a lot of years, but sometimes too over time, the yellow bit, they're not as bad. The original, like the first kind of iterations of photopolymer would yellow quite a bit. Some of it still happens, some doesn't. A lot of it too, sunlight exposure can do that, but it doesn't affect anything. Like, it just is what it is. But there's my little like TED talk on staining, whatever. As long as it's clean, who cares, you know? So he be very, very stained, you know? But he works so good. So that's what we're gonna do. So the first little bit is gonna be just kind of basic, but we're gonna step it up. Yeah, it's such a good set. This was, I think, and the reason why I love it so much was this, I'm almost positive, this was the very first large floral stamp. Like, you know, big like this. Because back in the day, we also didn't have the stamp platforms. We didn't have bigger stamp sets originally too. When photopolymer first became a thing, we just had the 4x6 sets. Like the larger formats just came over time, and this was like the very first like big floral I got, and I lost my mind, and I've been obsessed with it ever since. So, but yeah, now we have so many. I have more large floral sets than I could even begin to count, and I don't care. They all make me happy. They're all great. I love them equally. Don't make me pick a favorite. This one's an exception, but he came along before the rest. So anyway, card base. A2 size, top folding, 4 1/4, 5 1/2 inches. I'm just getting them in here into my Misty because I just want to stamp this like on the front of my card. And I'm probably going to have to move this around because I want to stamp this just kind of like, I think that'll be good. This is just going to be a literal background element because we're going to add a ton to this thing. And, my Misty looks like it has been through wars. Exactly. Like, stuff gets dirty.
We had to take it to therapy every Thursday.
Yeah, my Missy needs to go to therapy every once in a while. But like same thing. Like I clean it every once in a while. Things like same thing. Like there's a photopolymer mat in here. You know, these things get stained too. This guy I clean, and by clean I wipe him down only because he gets gunked up after a while. Like when you're these types of things, like specifically grip mats, when they start like losing their stick, biggest reason usually is like dust, anti-static powder, like build up. So this guy, I wipe him out. And then if he's really like, if I've just been messy, I'll use a stamp cleaner. We'll get to that because I've gone over it, but I'll be using a stamp cleaner. So we'll get to it one thing at a time. But yeah, our tools are meant to be used. Stamps meant to be used. It's one thing to like take care of your things. I'm fully in that, you know? You take care of your things, everything. Just try not to be so really caught up. Like, I know, like, I don't know. It was like people got like trained to like keep everything pristine. And and I used to feel the same way back in the day. You know, and I was like, oh no, like my photopolymer stained. It's like, oh, who cares? Who cares, man? You know? It's fine. It's fine. So we're going to stamp this in black. And same with the tools. They're meant to be used, you know? And I don't know. I get a kick out of it. Like some people keep everything like very pristine, very clean, all of it. I'm kind of in the middle. Some stuff is just absolutely ratchet. Other things are, you know, decent. And then you come across artists who like every single thing they own is just covered in like paint and stuff. Like it's just absolute chaos. And I love it. I love it. I love it. So, yeah. Okay. We're going to stamp him with black ink right on the front of my card. And this is why we love a good, well-loved, well-used stamp. Because, like, look at that. First shot, perfection. So, I'm not going to take this out. What I'm going to do is clean the stamp, clean off this. And when it comes to the more stubborn inks, which Nocturne isn't, if you clean it like immediately like this, again, remember, this is stained, like, but the ink is like almost gone. So if you clean the VersaFine, and it's not just Nocturne, any of the VersaFine clear inks, if you clean it like quickly, it wipes off photopolymer pretty much. Like it cleans really quickly. But once it sits for a bit, because this is a very like, it's an oil-based like pigment style ink, and the longer it sits, the more permanent it becomes. That's why I like it for watercoloring. I like to stamp and heat emboss, etc., etc. But like when cleaning it, just if you wipe it quickly, it just wipes off with water. But if it's been sitting for a while, you need to use a stamp cleaner. So I got most of this off, but when it is, you know, I'm doing stuff and I don't clean my stamp, what have you, what I do is just my little, and I've talked about this, my little, you know, stamp chamois. This thing is, again, stained to heck, as it should be. This, and it's damp, and Ultra Clean are like my like main go-tos. Ultra Clean is one of the best stamp cleaners on the market. It has a little bit of a weird smell. Has a little bit of a, almost like an oily residue. However, it will remove everything. It will not remove stains. You know, like once it's stained, it's stained. But if you've got stubborn inks and all of that, this, and I prefer it on this. The other option, of course, is and I've talked about this. I went over this in a recent video. Oh, the Galaxy background video that I posted the other day. I did that in real time. I did a whole little thing. I went on about it. The exact same stuff. But the little Hero Arts scrubber block is my other little favorite because it's got the little, you know, bristle pad, whatever, because sprayed on here. The thing with this, though, and any cleaner, but this stuff, when you're going like this, it will kind of like sometimes splatter out a little bit, which not the end of the world. However, especially if I have it on acrylic block and I'm like working right next to my project, I've literally like splattered the cleaner with this. So I use this most of the time, but when I'm really getting inky and to get into crevices, this dude is, so I have both. I recommend both because it's got his place. And this comes off, you know, I take him to the sink. It's stained from all the permanent inks I used. Don't care. But when it gets really gunky, and you'll know, because I'll spray the cleaner, I'm going like this, and it's just like black sludge spreading everywhere. It's like, okay, it's time to clean this. So I take it to the sink, rinse it out with soap and water, it's fine, and stick it back on. But the little chamois and a bit of Ultra Clean, just so good. So good, man. So, oh yeah, red stains, like, it's going to vary on the ink formula and the colors. Red is a very staining color. It stains everything black. Inks almost always stain everything it comes in contact with. And then various forms of purples and pinks, some blues even will stain because a lot of times because it's got that red in there. It varies. It varies. Some are just, and you'll know certain colors, but reds especially. Reds are the worst. They really are. They stain everything, and You only usually need like one spray of this, just FYI, and then I can go in. And there's not even really like anything left because I got to them quickly and I wiped most of it off. But I just want this clean because we're going to use a light color ink. But this is also why I like the chamois, because it's damp. I can go over it a second time in case there's just any residue from this. Because like I said, it's got that little bit of an oily, and for years I used it when I had to, but I didn't really like using it because again, it just annoyed me. But my holy grail combo is the chamois and the Ultra Clean. Love it. Love it. It works great. And then when the lid of my Misty and my stamp wheel, etc., because they'll get gunked up with ink when it finally like really starts to annoy me, same thing. A little bit of Ultra Clean. We're good. We're good. That's it. That's all you need. So the stamp is clean because that's all I need. And then without moving anything. Is it gonna? Oh yeah, it's only gonna go along the bottom inside since I'm not moving anything. I'm gonna stamp it on the inside. We'll just use a light ink. Let's just use spun sugar. Distressing. Just something pale. Just to add that color and pattern to the inside. Because you guys know I like doing the insides of my cards. So yeah. Tappy tap. Oh. I'm all over the place. This has nothing to do with you guys. I'm just saying, because he's right here. So for Mother's Day, you can update all of my mods on Stardew Valley for me. Because maybe I'll like curl up and play some video games later, because I haven't played Stardew in months. I was thinking about it the other day, and I'm scared to turn it on again, because it's probably just going to like crash.
I don't know. It might be okay.
It's been a while since it's been updated.
Like there hasn't been a Stardew Valley update?
There hasn't been. They haven't released the 1.7, I think. Yeah. We've talked about those that might remember. We've talked about like video games and stuff on my live streams. Stardew Valley, absolute favorite little game. You can get it on like the Nintendo Switch. It's cheap.
Like $9.99.
Yeah, it's like cheap, or I think it's like $15 now. But it's a cheap game, like to start off with. I use it on a little Steam Deck. Like he has me hooked up with all of the like professional gamer everything. So, and then he helps me with all the mods, and favorite game. Anybody can play it. It's super easy to play, and I love to curl up and play Stardew Valley. I have put in an insane amount of hours into that game. It's just fun. Like you have a little farm and you build your little farm and you meet the little villagers, and there's all little quests and things, and there's mining and all kinds of stuff. It is the best game ever. And the dude who invented it, that game is now 10 years old. Yeah, it's been 10 years. He's kept up with it and done tons of updates and like add-ons, and then there are mods galore. It's such a good game. Anyway, that's what I want to do. For Mother's Day, you can just, take the time to, I could do it all myself, but he can do it faster. So you can update all my mods. So I can maybe curl up and start a new farm and play Stardew Valley. Mm-hmm. So anyway, okay.
You have 5,687 hours.
That's kind of a lie. Because there was a lot of times where I would leave it like paused,
Yeah.
and I assumed that would still track. Like there was times I would leave it on like overnight. So there's a lot of hours. Especially when I wasn't feeling good or I was going through it or whatever was going on in my life, I would just curl up and play Stardew Valley because once you get used to it, you don't need a whole lot of brain cells, and I like that.
Started it like on January 1st, 2022.
Yeah, because that game and Animal Crossing is what got me through the pandemic. Because yeah, the amount of times I would just curl up with that game and just ignore the world and the chaos and all the things. And then Animal Crossing, because I played that, like me and the kids would play it. So fun. So fun. I love it. Anyway, back to the card. So that's the inside. Again, because Distress inks, and I've talked about this, Distress inks are not formulated for stamping. That said, can you stamp with them? Obviously. But they're not formulated, especially if you have the types of inks that have been out for however many years now, like Simon's Positively Saturated inks, Concord and Ninth inks, Altenews, Fresh Dye inks, like, and there's many other brands. Again, I always refer to the ones I personally have and use. But I know there's a bunch of other ones out there that people rave about. They work great. Those inks, they're meant for stamping. They're formulated for it. They've got those agents in them that smooth out and dry back, etc. Distress inks are separate category to all those other inks because this Formula 1 is unique, as is oxide inks. But you won't get like perfect stamping results. You don't notice it as much with really like detailed stuff like this, and also the stamps perfectly. But like more solid image stamping, that's when you'll really notice distress inks, because people, I get that a lot, and people ask me because they're like, it was so splotchy, like it doesn't stamp very nice, and I was like, it's actually not supposed to. These inks are meant for like techniques, Thank you, Fern. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. So, yeah. Always with something like this, you just temper your expectations. But like, so if I was going to stamp like, say, like solid, large, images, I probably wouldn't use it. But a stamp platform helps because at least you can ink up and stamp multiple times. But distress inks, the beat of them is the techniques, the ink blending, the smooshing, the watercoloring, etc., etc., etc. But again, anything you can stamp with anything. You just always gotta like know what they're meant for, and then you know roughly what to expect. But yeah, this stamped pretty much perfectly, but always the inside's a bonus anyway. And yeah, so okay, that was the there's the front, there's the inside. Setting that aside, we'll come back to the actual card base later. What I want to do is I just have some El Cheapo watercolor paper. Just the Strathmore. I've used this in a million videos. Love this stuff. Distress watercolor paper will work too. Pretty much any watercolor paper is going to work. It doesn't really matter. I just, again, had this out from a previous project, and I was like, this is what we're going to use, because who cares, man? So we got some watercolor paper. And then I want the individual flowers. Hello to those tuning in. So we're going to stamp the individual flowers here onto this. And that'll work. That'll work. And these guys, there we go. We're going to heat emboss. So I need that. I need that. Okay. Anti-static powder to prevent the embossing powder from clinging to anything but the little stamped images. And again, because this is the part that's going to be kind of boring because you're not going to see a whole lot, but we're going to white heat emboss this onto the watercolor paper. And when I'm stamping clear ink onto light colored cardstock, you can't see it. I can't see it. If you tilt it in light, you can kind of see it, but even then you can't really. But I always like to stamp several times, especially when I'm stamping something so detailed and on watercolor paper. This Strathmore stuff is not very textured. I do always try to make a point of stamping on the like smoother side because most watercolor paper has a smooth side and a rougher side. But, and again, it'll vary. It just varies on the brand and the type and yada, yada, yada. But, ooh, because I'll end up losing that. Okay. No, you know what? I'm going to do it one more time. Just to be safe. So, yeah. And then the more detailed the stamp is, the more times I'll stamp it if I'm stamping on an uneven or textured surface. This should be good. This should be good. Okay. Distressed watercolor paper. Oh, it shouldn't be hard to die cut through. Distressed watercolor paper is no thicker than like average heavyweight cardstock. Because heck, I've even die cut. You know, my Canson XL is thicker than distressed watercolor paper, and then like Arches and some of the really heavy, you know, 140-pound heavyweight papers, they die cut like a dream. Depends on the pressure of your die cut machine though too. Okay. White embossing powder. Again, this is going to look a little, you know, boring until we add color. Let me get that out. I'm running out of space again. Wow. Okay. Now we melt it with the heat tool, which is always the best part. Even when it's white on white. Melting embossing powder will never not be. Just one of my favorites, you know? So let it heat up for a few seconds. You do not need to let your heat tool heat up for minutes at a time. It only needs seconds. Very hot. Always be careful. Yeah, this will show up. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it melting. So fun. And this is what I mean about when I tilt it in the light and look for dull grainy areas. Right, you can see those two flowers have not been melted. This one has. So that's always what I'm looking for to make sure they're melted. Hello, Mari. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Tilting it in the light, making sure I didn't miss anything. And then the other thing you always want to remember when you are using a heat tool, melting embossing powder, the minute you see it melt, move your tool. Don't continue with the heat. Because if you overheat it, embossing powder liquefies. And you will notice it, especially on dark cardstock, more solid images, you know, thicker lines, things like that. When you overheat it and it liquefies, it sinks into the cardstock, and that's how you get that really patchy, weird look. 99% of the time, it's because you overheated it. So the minute you see it melt, you move the tool. Melt the rest, and it doesn't take very long. So, we got that. Yeah, same, Luis. I will never get tired of melting embossing powder. It was one of the first, kind of the first things when you get into card making and crafting and what have you, like melting embossing powder for the first time. And it's just like, this is amazing. It's like magic. Why isn't everybody doing this? Yeah, love it. Especially metallic embossing powders, because when like gold embossing powder melts, it's just so good. It's so good. Okay. So we have this rather boring looking nothing at the moment. We want to add color. I've already lost one of my wafer dyes. I'm doing great. There it is. Okay. Because we'll need those. We will need all those things in a bit. We are going to do the most basic of ink smooshing. What colors? I had like I said, I was doing like a random project the one day. Yesterday, and everything just didn't work. So I'm just going to use the colors I already pulled out. Are these good? These should be good. Yeah, whatever. Why not? It's a lot of colors. At least when you're going to do ink smooshing, if you've never done it, another thing I highly recommend. It's fun. But also, be aware of your colors. So these all kind of like work together. You know, blues, pinks, purples play nice together. So that if like this mixes with this, it's going to make a purple. It's all good. If I was to start adding in like yellows, greens, reds, oranges, like the whole gamut of colors, that's where you get mud. So these will give us just pretty colors. I am not too concerned about like splotchy texture, everything. I've discussed this in past live streams, and I also went on about it in the that galaxy video I posted the other day. I even showed, just like I've done in live streams, the difference between using a glass work surface, a craft mat, or like plastic ink smooshing sleeve, etc. Like, it creates different effects. So if you want that splotchy texture of ink smooshing, you don't want to work on glass. And you'll see the minute I spray water on it, it's not going to beat up. This is also where distress inks are more unique, because they do beat up versus other art basic stamping inks. They don't usually beat up very much. They just kind of flow when you add water. But distress inks have a more unique formula. So I'm just going to like, again, sort of randomly add this. Just smushing them wherever. Letting them do their thing. More colors, honestly, than I really need, but I also kind of don't care. I don't care. I like color. We'll just see what happens. You get what you get. You don't throw a fit. Let's add a little bit of salvage patina again, just because I had it out. Squeeze a little there. Stick some over here. Again, we don't need a lot because there's not a whole lot we're covering. So, we got all that. And then, I'll move that over there. Actually, let's move all of this out of the way so that I don't get ink where I don't want it. There we go. Okay. So then, when you spray, like I said, this is not going to beat up. It's immediately just going to go because it's glass. See? And that's okay. It's okay. Because I just want color more than anything. And because these were heat embossed, the raised edges are actually going to trap some of the color. So we're just gonna, and this is where it gets messy. I don't care. I don't care. See? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's that simple. It's that simple. So we got color. Yeah. And we're just going to dry it. It's pretty. The other thing you got to remember when you're using your heat tool to dry, you're not heat embossing. So I'm not going to like hold my tool right close, because you will remelt the embossing powder. And it will do exactly like I said earlier. It would like melt and sink into the cardstock. But if you keep it moving and keep a bit of distance, it will just dry. You can let it air dry too, whatever floats your boat, but we're live. We're not going to like sit here and watch ink dry. That's just mean. Wrong ink, sir. I use distress ink cubes. Haven't used the Pawsitively ones yet. Mm-hmm.
Cubes or cubes?
No, they're not. I just was explaining the differences in inks. Were you not paying attention? Obviously you weren't. You were like in your own little world. This is why you're an unpaid intern. Anyway.
I'll never be a paid intern.
No, you won't. I don't make enough to be able to pay you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we've got that. And then you can layer up. Do whatever you want. I think I'm going to add a little bit just because I can. But you don't have to. It's the beauty of it all. So to add more color, this is where I'm just going to use, this is what I call my ink smooshing sleeve. These are just stamp storage pockets. I use these to store a lot of my stamps and stuff. And then this one I just keep dedicated to like ink smooshing and what have you. So yeah, different substrates, different surfaces matter. Glass, like you saw, everything just kind of flows on the glass. Plastic, totally different thing. So if we take some of this, I'm really liking that shaded lilac. I wasn't even really gonna go purple, but purple has its way. You know, let's just add some color to this. Don't overthink it. So we'll smush a bit of spun sugar. We'll throw in a little picked raspberry. I'll add some more shaded lilac here. A little bit of the salty ocean. Boop. You know. And why not a tiny smidge of the seedless preserves too? Because I don't think I added seedless preserves when I did the rest of it. Doesn't matter. So then with this, it beats up. It doesn't flow. And then what you can do is, I was just going to stick my finger. I don't really care. It wouldn't matter. Use your finger and, you know, break it up because I don't want, you know, the definition of the ink pads, but you can also just do stuff like this. Just to break up those straight lines left from the ink pad. Again, it's not really going to matter because once we actually start pressing this, it's going to, you know, do its own thing. But I want to add more texture and just another layer of color to these. And everything outside the flowers is irrelevant because we are going to like die cut these. So like all of this is, who cares? Ignore the mess. It's fine. So we'll just keep going around and adding color. And I'm also not really concerned about the texture itself either. If you want to keep the texture and you really like that splotchy effect, just keep drawing in between layers because wet on dry layers, wet on wet blends. I'm more just wanting like color. So kind of more wet on wet in the blend. I don't care whether it has the little splotchy effects. Yeah, I'm okay with this. There's still going to be a bit of texture, and I'm okay with that. I like it. I like it. So we got that. And you always got to remember too, it always looks worse when it's wet. Once it's fully dry, then make your decision. Because sometimes, especially with ink smushing, it can just look like a hot mess. Hot mess. Okay. We're gonna dry this one, and then I think I'll be happy with it. Okay. There we go. You can always tell where it's still wet. Same idea as how when I tilt in the light with when heat embossing, but when things are wet, See, I think it's still wet right there because it'll reflect the light a little bit. So we want to make sure it's dry because I want to die cut these, and you always want your paper to be dry. Because if it's still wet, it'll shred. And you don't want that. You don't want that. It's not a good time. So there's our like little bit of a hot mess. But always method to the madness. Wafer dies. And then we's gonna die cut these with coordinating wafer dies. You could also just fussy cut. These are actually pretty simple to cut out. But like I've always said, if there's a coordinating wafer die, I'm going to get it because I would much rather die cut than fussy cut. I've done my time in card making with years upon years of fussy cutting. So now if I can avoid it, I will. So I'm just taping these into place so that it can hold them because, like, you know, the paper's all crooked and everything. These all get flattened out, though, when you run it through the die cut machine. So let's get them all lined up just like so. And then hello to everybody tuning in. Let's get in your... There we go. Okay. So now we can die cut. So get that on there. Get that on there. And then we can run them through our die cut machine. Okay. There we go. Alright. So. What we're left with is that. All that texture, you know, and I could never recreate something like that with just like a paintbrush, you know. I could use all the same inks, but that's why I love ink smooshing, because it's just, it does its own thing. It's got a mind of its own. It's gonna do what it wants, and it will always be different. Because you could replay it, you could, you know, repeat this over and over and over again every single time. It's gonna be different. It's never gonna be the same. And that's what I love. That's what I love. So, we've got our flowers. And we also have... So, here's... There we go. There we go. So there's my card base. I also die cut some white cardstock. This was the... Is it called a teardrop? I forget the name of everything. Is the modern Teardrops wafer dies, because that's going to go here. Because the plan is to have these flowers. This one goes like over here, technically. I always forget which one goes where. It doesn't necessarily have to be exact. Oh, this one goes here. That's how it goes. So these are going to go like that. And then a little bit of black, you know, is going to peek out. And then I pulled out all kinds of stuff. I pulled out this little guy. So we're going to set him over here for now because we're going to put a bird on it, of course. He needs a bird. So this is the little sweet Songbird. This is another oldie but goodie. This came out last year, year before, I forget. Pulled him out. I die cut him from just some white cardstock because we can just use inks and blending brushes to add color to this little dude. And I have no idea what color I want to make this guy. What color do we want to make him?
I don't know. I'm thinking like we got a lot of
We could. Sort of. I'm not going to go for realism, but we could make him kind of like that. Oh. We do have a lot of blackbirds around here. There's one in particular, the unpaid intern is like...
He's my nemesis.
He is his nemesis. He sits up on, there's a light post and some trees by a walking path, like right straight across from our house. And last year, that bird would sit up there and he would just wait. And he would wait till he'd get past him. So he'd be behind you. And he did it every time. So he knew. He would wait. And then he'd swoop down and try and like peck your head. And he'd always go after the unpaid intern. Always made me laugh. So, yeah. Every time we get close, he'd be muttering kind of like an old boomer man, like at this bird. And I was just like, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. Every single time without fail. You get past that bird and he'd swoop down and like just harass
you gotta
us.
Keep an eye on him. As long as you're looking at him, he won't do it.
No, he always waited. He
Yeah.
waited till you got past. So either you'd have to turn around, and even then, he would just sweep up behind and... I always get a kick out of it. Anyway, we're going to put a bird on it. So yeah, in honor of the unpaid intern's nemesis, we'll sort of blackbird-esque, because I don't want to make the whole thing black, because then you won't see anything.
Yeah.
But I will pull out some black soot. I will add a bit. Let's do... where's my black soot? There he is. We got some grays, a little bit of black soot. I need some blending brushes. That'll be that guy and that guy. Okay. I need a cloth. And then, okay. We're going to add some grays first. I might pull in some of these other colors to this guy too, because why not, you know? And really, a lot of times black, especially on birds, can have that like reflective color, like almost like that oil slick sort of a thing, which is also really fun. So now we're going to use some Pawsitively saturated inks. Any inks will work, it doesn't really matter. But we'll just start with... And this is a lot. This color is not actually this color. This brush has like... They both kind of do. It has some really, really dark like ink on it. But that's still okay. Yeah. We'll start with that. And then we'll just keep going darker on the other parts. So we'll do Earl on these pieces. Like that. And yeah, let's add some salty ocean. I can do whatever I want. We can do whatever we want. Let's add a little bit of that. Why not? Because, you know, I've talked about this when it comes, like, I avoided for the longest time using anything bird related on my cards. Like, I refused to do it. I didn't like using like bird stamps, bird dyes, because I was like, I don't know enough, you know, like birds have very specific colorways and I don't know the types of birds. Who cares? It's paper.
Right.
Like, same with just anything. People like to come out of the woodwork sometimes and be like, well, actually, you know, this flower doesn't like do this color, or this bird is, you know, is called a whatever, yada yada warbler from the genus. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Like, they're cool in the wild, but this is paper. Like, don't get too hung up on it. That's what I remind myself about anyway. So, this bird, he's just going to be super cool, man. Although that one I sent you the image of, and now I don't remember the name of it, that they took photos of, that they found in Alberta.
Oh.
That little, like, crane thing that was, like, a rainbow of colors. Like, birds are cool. Anyway. Okay. So. Had an owl fly just 2 inches over my head. Never heard a thing. Oh yeah, owls don't make noise when they swoop. There's a video. Yeah, I showed that to you, didn't I? Yeah, that video they did where they set up cameras at two ends And then all the microphones. And they had the different types of birds fly between them, and how like pigeons make a bunch, like all the different birds make so much noise, and owls are completely silent. That's how they can swoop down and grab the little critters.
I'm pretty sure that's what I saw flying in the sky last night. It was an owl.
Yeah, it might have been
It
owls.
was pretty wide.
Now that it's nice out, the unpaid intern and I like to sit outside at night. We'll just like sit out and look at the stars. And yeah, there might have been a couple owls. I always get a little like, might be bats.
Yeah, they could
But
be bats.
anyway, it's all cool, man. You know, it's all cool. Okay, so then there's like this piece. This is his beak, so we can just blend a little bit of black soot.
Your camera's shaking.
Oh yeah, when I'm blending the camera, because the way the chords are, everything, it's on my list. It's an extremely difficult process. But yeah, trust me, I'm aware. It annoys the heck out of me, but I literally have to take apart my entire filming setup to build like a something to contain the chords. And I know what I need to do, but it is a huge amount of work. Okay, I'm gonna add. So that's Earl, like that. The black soot we're gonna use for his beak. I need to re-ink my black soot distress ink because I use this one a lot. And I can already tell he needs some ink. But I will forget about that until the next time I go to use it. And then I'll be like, oh, it needs to be re-inked. You know? Okay. I like that. I like that. Let's add it to this too, because why not? I saw that. Is it better to get ink cubes, full-size pads, or both? I'm just starting out and trying to budget, but be smart as well. You don't need both. You don't need both. You don't. People like me that do this as a job, I don't even have both for most stuff. I do with the distress inks and with my Simon ones. But again, I do this as a job. A lot gets sent to me. But with distress inks, I started with the cubes. I could have stayed with just the cubes. I didn't need the full size. I just found that for me personally, I was using them so much and I was having to re-ink my cubes so often because I was using them all the time. So then over time, I slowly started getting the full size. But you don't need both. That's the beauty of the cubes, is you can get more colors for less money. The thing you need to remember though is that a cube only holds about 1/5 of the amount of ink that a full-size ink pad holds. So you will need to like get re-inkers. I kind of recommend getting them at the same time, but at the bare minimum, plan to get them in the near-ish future, because it also depends on the brand. Distress inks, because of a different formula and the oxides, I wouldn't say necessarily last longer. It's just depending on what you're going to use them for too. But like the Simon Pawsitively Saturated and the Concord 9th ink cubes do this as well, because these ones are little foam ink pads and you do use more ink with these. So these specific brands, the Simon Pawsitively Saturated and the Concord 9th ones, you will need to re-ink them more frequently. But it's going to depend on all the different factors, how many colors you have, how often you use them, what you're using them for. But yeah, the little cubes, they're the more affordable option, but you're only getting like smaller amounts. Full size ink pad, you got more to go. But yeah, the price difference. So the cubes are great. That was the only way I was able to get like the distress inks. Back when Concord 9th first came out with their own inks, that's how I was able to get them, is I just got their little cubes. Because yeah, we got a lot of options now. We got a lot of colors available to us. Again, you don't need everything. You don't need every color. Do I? Yeah, because I'm crazy and I like having every option under the sun. But yeah, you definitely don't need both sizes. Like, for me, it was just a convenience thing. I like the small ones because I can have a bunch of colors like spread out in front of me and they don't take up a lot of space. I like the larger ink pads because I can, use my big brushes and I'm inking up big stamps and doing all the things. Like, yeah, it always depends, but more budget friendly. Plus, you can have, a ton of colors that take up very little space versus like full size ink cubes because storage is also a consideration. I am running out of ink storage space, but it's a, nice problem to have because I like color, Okay, I got to keep cleaning up my mess as I go. Yeah, the little cubes, yeah. Again, options. Options. And then the thing to remember, like, a re-inker for anything, whether it's distress ink, Simon's inks, oxide, yada, yada, yada. A re-inker lasts an insane... I have yet to use up a re-inker. And again, I do this as a job, so I use stuff more than the average. I also have just ridiculous amount of colors. But a re-inker lasts. Like, a re-inker will refill a full-size ink pad at least 4 times. Possibly more, because it depends on how much you put in it. And then, like, with an ink cube, a re-inker will re-ink an ink cube probably like a dozen times. Again, it varies. Because there's no specific, like, you must add X amount. No. So, I have yet to use up a re-inker. Some of my re-inkers I've had for many, many years. Many, many years. Okay. We got portions of this guy. Now, let's add some more. Let's do, like, some purpley bits. Why not? Another thing you can do. Okay. Let me move this out of the way. I do this because, again, I don't clean my brushes. We've talked about this. Do I wash my brushes? Heck no. I don't have time for that crap. However, I just use like a microfiber cloth generally, and I just, rub it off. However, obviously, super dark ink has been used on this guy. I probably used this with like Villainous Potion last time I was using this brush, and I want to use very light color. So all I do when I want to do that, because I am not washing this out. Also, you can't anyway when you immediately want to go to use it, because if you wash this with like soap and water, it's going to take like 3 days to dry. Alcohol. I keep one of these in a little mister bottle, but I spray alcohol on the cloth, not on the brush. You don't want to get alcohol like right up into where the bristles are glued, and this applies to almost every single blending brush on the market. I wouldn't be like putting this in a container of alcohol because the alcohol will break down that glue and wreck your brush. But spray it on a cloth, paper towel, whatever. And then I can just blend off, some of the buildup in the really, really dark color. So generally I only do this when I want to switch from like a really dark color that I used and I want to use something really light. Or I've also, over the years, gotten more blending brushes. So I have, I'll have 2 purple brushes, one for light, one for dark. But again, do you need all the things? No. Yeah. There's some good tips about what people like versus like full size ink pads, cubes. They're all great. I switch between a lot of times. I just grab the cubes because, like I said, I've got like trays of cubes right beside me, so I can grab all my colors without having to stand up and turn around because my ink pads are all behind me too. But convenience, you gotta do what you gotta do. So anyway, this is the craft equivalent of Karate Kid: wax on, wax off, blend on, blend off. Yeah, Karate Kid. Again, alcohol, do not use on your stamps. Do not use, and this is just because in case anyone asks, this is just isopropyl, like 70%. You can get it at any like pharmacy, drugstore, whatever. 70% isopropyl alcohol, basic. And I've got it in a small binder's like Mr. bottle, any little spray bottle works. And I have it like marked so that I don't accidentally use it specifically. Alcohol will over time break down photopolymer. If you've done it in the past, it's not the end of the world. But if you continually use alcohol, solvents like this on your photopolymer stamps, your grip mats, it will break down the photopolymer over time and it will start to get cloudy and then it'll start to get gummy because it's literally starting to disintegrate. That's why we all say, do not use this on your stamps or your grip mats. I use alcohol on like my glass, my stencils, stuff like this with the brushes. It's all good. Just do not use it on the grip mats, your stamps. If you've done it in the past, it's not the end of the world. Just stop doing it because it'll wreck them eventually. And I've seen it. JC Gasper said that, yeah, one of his, before he knew that, one of his grip mats got cloudy and weird. And I had a stamp set, not that one. There was another stamp set that I used a lot. And this was years ago. And I should have showed it, but I was using alcohol to clean it. I knew I wasn't supposed to, but it was so convenient because, strips the ink off, we're good to go. I went to, and it was a larger stamp, and I went to peel it off to use it the one day, and the stamp just ripped in half. I've never had that happen. And I was like, serve me right. I knew I shouldn't have been doing it, and I was so sad because I really loved that stamp. I don't even think that set's available anymore, but RIP to that stamp. So yeah. Don't use alcohol on your stamps. So, shaded lilac. Now we can get more of a true color because I waxed off the the really dark color on here. Oh, this is fun. This is fun. Okay, so we'll add that, and then let's add. We can go in with that like flannel shade. Which brush was I using with? I've got too many of the same brushes, and now I don't know what I'm doing. Where's my scrap of paper? I don't know. Where did it go? Where did it go? So let's have the ring. There are the colors where they started in colors. Some pads are hard and won't take ink anymore. Oh yeah, some of the like some ink pads, once they get like really old. Yeah, because some of those old ink pads that are X amount of years old. Yeah, I could see them getting, they can get hard over the years. I really need to mark. I keep a set of blending brushes just for distress inks, because again, different formulas. And then I keep a set of blending brushes just for my dye inks. They are both dye inks, but again, different formulas. So I use like a set of blending brushes with, I would use these brushes with Simon's Pawsitively Saturated, Concord 9th, Altine Fresh Dye Inks, etc. And I specifically keep a separate set just for distress inks because the formula is different. These ones, because it doesn't have that smoothing agent in it, you might notice over time that you're blending, if you're using blending brushes with distress inks, they might get a little crusty, a little stiff. I don't care. Because when I notice that, if my brush has been sitting for a long time, I haven't used it in a while, and I go to use it and it just feels crusty, I do like the same thing. A little spray of alcohol, or even without alcohol, I just take my microfiber brush and a little bit of elbow grease, and I just like rub it really good in the cloth, and that softens it back up, and that's good to go. The old ink formulas, before we got into like these newer ones that have been out for however many years, but like those old hybrid ink formulas, those were really bad for like, they would just go rock solid in brushes over time, but I would do the same thing. I would just, yeah. So, yeah, I don't wash them. Like, all that, okay, I think that one had black soot in it. That's what I was trying to figure out, was like, which one of these brushes did I use the black soot in? Because, what was I going to say? Yeah, I'm going to use the black soot. Let's do that. I'm all over the place. Yeah, I don't wash my brushes. It just, one, I have way too many. I have way too many, and I don't have that time and patience. And also, I've never seen a need to. Mad respect to the people that do. I've seen sometimes people are like, I'm giving my brushes a spa day, and they wash all their brushes and they're amazing, and you know, they let them dry for 3 days, and I'm like, respect. I don't have time for that or patience, like, at all. So I find just a microfiber cloth and then a bit of alcohol if I need to like really strip like a color out, and then that's it. That's all I do. Nothing else. So there's his little wing. And then we've got these two little bits. Which, okay. This one was the lighter one. So let's go back in with that flannel shade. And then I can drag a little bit of... We might not even see his tail when we get to the end of this, because it depends on how I'm going to tuck him in on this card, but let's just add that salty ocean again. Just because we can. Like that. Now I was like, where's the lid? Okay. And then... yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I just don't. I keep a brush for, because I get that asked that too. Like, I have multiple brands of brushes. Do you need 15 brands of brushes? You know, like, no. I do this as a job. So I've got a lot of variety, but my biggest thing is I just keep like a brush per color family-ish. So purple brush for purple shades, pinks for pinks, yellows for yellows, etc. And then over time, you know, I either will get another set or more get sent to me, whatever, and then I can even start getting very, you know, one for light shades, one for dark shades. In a perfect world, having a brush for every color, I'd love it. I would love it. I would love it. But I have a lot of colors. That's more brushes than I can even imagine. And I'm just like, maybe someday. It would be kind of cool. Anyway. Okay. So we got all our like little bits here. Oh, I want to add more. I like darkened the wrong end. You're not even going to see this side. Good job, Amy. I'm a professional, y'all. I'm like all over the place. And now I'm just like, I want more brushes. Yep. Okay. That's better. That's better. That's what we want. And then this last little layer, we could add maybe a bit of pink, you know, just cause we can. So we'll put, and definitely not accurate because I didn't use the alcohol on this, but you know what? That's okay. We'll do that. We can add just a hit of picked raspberry to this. Because you can never go wrong with picked raspberry. It is one of my favorites. And then I can go back with the spun sugar. And we'll add a little bit right there. Yep, that'll work. That'll work. Okay, so then to assemble this little dude, super simple. We can just take the glue, which I made a point of unclogging before going live. Because yes, the precision glue press does clog. It wouldn't if you put the lid on at the end of the day, but I never, because I just can't be bothered. So this piece goes rather like that. So that piece. And then this piece goes over it. Like this. And then you can store the regular blending sponges. Speaking of, and I don't use them as much anymore. I had them for I had one for, that is one thing I did have for every color. I didn't have handles for every color, but I have the OG Distress blending sponges, the flat ones. Those fit under here. The domes do not. They're too thick. But the sponges just fit perfectly. They fall out. I don't bother taping them. I used to tape them underneath the full size ink pads, and then that was just annoying. But I still keep them because every once in a while a sponge comes in handy, and I have them. And it gets ink on the label on the bottom. I don't care. So the regular ones do fit just like that. So that's where I keep them. But now that we have brushes, I do prefer blending brushes to the foams. Okay. Ooh, I was supposed to glue this piece onto his tail first. It's fine. It's fine. So, I can do that. We still can just quickly, because the glue hasn't had a chance to fully set, so we're going to slide that under there. Like that. There we go. And then we can adhere his little wing. Like so. I'm going to just tilt it down a little bit just because I can. And then the last 2 layers, and we'll have our little birdie. Doo doo doo. The patience for it. I have 0 patience, but clogging glue is, or glue getting clogged is not one of them. It does not faze me at all. Every single glue bottle, applicator, anything I've ever used has clogged on me, and I just don't care. That's why I keep pins on my desk next to me, and I just unclog. With the glue press, like I said, it would, if you put the lid on it, because it's got that big pin in it, it would work great. I just don't bother. So there's our fun little bird. He's so colorful. I love him. Look at him. He needs an eye, of course, which, as per usual, the easiest way is a little doodlebug shape sprinkle. Because these are self-adhesive, quick and easy. Don't want all that size. Let's give him a medium size. Where's mine? There it is. So yeah, love these. Because like I said, they're self-adhesive, so just peel and stick. Because once he's got an eye, look at him. Look how adorable he is. Love it. Okay. So, we has our birdie. And then we have, so we've got this so far. We got this. Now we're going to have, our little birdie. I also die cut some black cardstock with another, like, oldie biggity favorite that I've used a bajillion times. The Fiddle Leaf. Fiddle Leaf? I think it's just called Fiddle Leaf. I forget the names of everything. FIDDLY. FIDDLY Leaf. This is another oldie. This one came out like 3 or 4 years ago. Love him. So I die cut some black cardstock with that. And then I also die cut, there we go, some white cardstock using the Abundant Leaves. This one's an even older oldie but goodie favorite. Now, 2022, 2023, whatever. I've used them more times than I can count. So, do I just want to do these in like... I was going to do these in greens, and now I've changed my mind. I think I really like the... Should we just do the grays and the blacks for the leaves? Something different. Why not? Why not? We can do what we want. I don't care. Let's do it. Stop. Yeah. Let's just use the grays first to add color to these. like that. Purposely leaving, like applying the color like at the base of each leaf. So the bulk of the ink starts there and then, you know, fades a little bit. It'll just add to the dimension, add to the texture. Like that. And because these have like this specific die set has all that piercing detail, it'll also give all that extra texture with no effort on my part. I like that. I like that. Okay. And then, yeah, I'm not using vellum for that panel. I want it to cover. I don't care. That's why it's stamped on the inside. So, you know, if someone is unfamiliar with the beautiful flower stamp, it's just there for a little bit of added pattern and interest, but it's not the focus. Hence the white cardstock panel. Method to the madness. And besides, that's why we're adding like die cuts, and there's going to be splatter, a sentiment, you know, all the things. Okay. So that was the flannel. Let's continue to build that depth. So now we're going in with Earl, which is darker. Like that. Like so. I'm not too worried about the little like stems of these because this is all going to get tucked underneath everything anyway. So we're not going to worry about that. That one. And then this one. There we go. And then this one. And yeah, I die cut this twice. Not sure if I'm going to use all of these die cuts. But whatever I don't use, I can just throw into a little dish and use it on a future project. Like, whatever works. Whatever works. Okay. So there's that. And then let's go even darker. So then we got charcoal. So this one, it goes, all these inks go on darker, but the positively saturated inks do soften, like as they dry. They soften up, they lighten a bit, they dry back. So, like I always say, if there's a certain look you're going for or a certain level of depth, it's always worth like testing it out and then letting things fully dry. Because so many things, not just these inks, but like so many inks do that, as well as like watercolors, sprays. Like there's a lot that are just look very, very different when you first apply them, when they're first wet, and then they, you know, they dry and do their thing, and it's just like, oh. So, yeah. And a lot of times, especially with a lot of the inks we have now, you'd be surprised at how dark you can go to get depth. There's some makers, speaking of like JC Gasper's one of them, creating like just an insane level of depth and dimension. And then when you see the actual colors he uses, it's like, I never would have thought in a million years. Because like significantly darker than you would think. But then once it's all done and applied and then it's fully dried, it's like, oh, interesting, you know? So, yeah. Now we're going to add a little bit of black soot. Not a lot, also because, again, this ink pad needs to be re-inked. This mini ink pad I've used a bajillion times over. And, yeah. He needs to be re-inked, but this is all doable. So we'll add that. Like that. So Then our leaves have all of this color or non-color, you know, shading basically to them. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like it. Okay. So we got leaves, ink everywhere, which isn't the end of the world. And then we've got this, which, again, making sure I don't have like ink all over the place since we're now going to be working on our card base. So I'm going to need to pop that up with some Big Mama foam tape. As is tradition. Okay. Few drops. You don't need much. It's basically you add ink and you'll know. You'll know. It doesn't matter with any of these ink pads. Black is a hard one to show. Let's do a lighter shade. You will know because as you're like, I just go, especially with ink cubes, I just do like a drop at a time. Like I am not squeezing the bottle or with distress ink specifically because distress ink reinkers come in those glass bottles with the little bulb. I'm not like squeezing and just, you know, flooding the ink pad. I put on like drops at a time. And they will, depending on how dry the ink pad is, they'll just, you know, they'll soak in pretty quickly. So, and you'll know the minute stuff stops like fully absorbing. So I always go a little lighter than needed because you do not want to like overfill them because it just gets messy, you know? So yeah, I just add, if it's all soaked in, it's good. If I really feel like if it's an ink pad I use a lot, so I really want to like fill it up good, I'll just keep adding until it stops soaking in and the ink is just sitting there. But I usually don't get it to that point. And then when it's a full-size ink pad, I just put on a good amount of ink. Again, depending on the ink, the brand, colors, like 'cause some refills are thicker than others. Sometimes you need to work it in. Like these, the distress inks are felt ink pads with a linen top. So things do take, the inks do take a little bit longer. Like it's not usually immediate because the ink itself is just a little bit thicker. Like it's not water consistency. So sometimes it needs to be worked in. So like an old credit card, old gift card, that works too, to just kind of scrape it in, press it in. So it does vary. But like I said, there's no real like specific amount, you know? I just add some and these are small. They don't hold a lot. So like 5 or 6 large drops within reason. You know, but if it's like, if I feel like it's dry, like this guy's probably going to take more, but if I feel like it is dry, you can tell, you know, because the ink is just soaking in like really quickly and it's just like, so then I'll add a little bit more, but usually it isn't too bad. And if you do manage to overfill, you know, your ink, it is a mess. There's too much ink on it. You can like smush it, use it, or just take some paper towel and absorb a little bit of the excess and that's fine. That's another thing, like people get really, I've had people get so angry at me over wasting ink over the years because it's like there was a drop on my little palette or, you know, ink left over from ink smushing. Y'all, I keep all my little scraps, you know, there's some things that, you know, I'm not gonna like stress myself out over like less than a penny's worth. Like that little bit left, like wipe it up, move on, don't care. So if I've over inked an ink pad, I'm not gonna like have a big old fit and like, oh, I need to get my money's worth. It's minuscule. Like, you know, sometimes some things it just, but yeah, I've literally got like hate mail for ink drops. But yeah, a little bit goes a long way. I did videos a couple weeks ago of watercoloring with reinkers, and I showed that, and like a couple drops goes a long way. Like, I did more than the projects I even showed, because I did a couple that same thing, wouldn't just, everything went sideways and the footage was awful and just, I just deleted all of it. But I got a lot of runway out of just a couple drops of reinker of each color. So we got some Big Mama foam tape. Boop. Okay. You wasteful heathen. I know. Shame. So much shame. But yeah. Ink is not like random ink on a palette on my work cert. Like, I ain't got time for that. Whereas like little bits of cardstock, that's, I hoard it. Well, because I use it. Because if you're not using it, people, you know, oof, I got ink all over me. So that, but like cardstock, I can get out of my way. Whereas like ink is here, and I'm just like, no, I'm not saving it. Like, I've got better things to do with my time. And yeah, like, ink isn't cheap, but the little bit left over from smooshing or re-inking or whatever is like, it's minuscule, you know? So yeah, maybe at least did you out yourself? Were you one of the ones that sent me hate mail over my wastefulness? Oh. Y'all, some of the unhinged ridiculousness I've had to deal with. Okay, we're popping this guy into place like that. He's committed. We're going with it. And then we've got these little bits. Same with like, because I'm going to cut off the bits hanging off the edge. People losing their mind over that too. One, art is subjective. It is. To each their own. There, you know, there's no rules. There's no right or wrong. Do what you want. Do what you love. All the things. And people have very strong opinions, and that's okay. You know, we like what we like. We like what we, you know, we don't like what we don't like. Whatever. But going unhinged on other makers' YouTube videos and comment sections and telling them what to do, or like, I liked it until you cut that piece off, or I liked it until the splatter. I was like, cool. So yeah. Although again, the vast majority, at least those that engage in the chat during the lives, you guys get it. There's still a few people that like to lurk, which again, I wonder, if you don't like me or my personality or what I make, why are you torturing yourself watching? Because there's those that do.
Yep.
And they wait until I say something that, you know, irritates them enough, and then they, you know, thumbs down and they leave. And it's like, okay, but there's so many awesome people out there that, you know, people can like hate watching me. I don't know why. Why? You could spend your day doing so much better than, you know, being annoyed by me. I'm yeah, okay. Anyway, I don't get it, man. So like I said, a lot is we're not gonna really see. I stamped it because I wanted to, but in the end, it's barely there. I could have stamped it. I thought about it, but I do kind of like also it just being white. Teach their own. Teach their own. So yeah, no, I think Elise is good. She gets it. She understands the sarcasm. So we're just gonna like, yeah, I'm just gonna start to commit. Try not to overthink it, because when it comes to like floral composition and putting in all the bits, it can get overwhelming. I am 1,000% aware of it because I overthink that kind of stuff all the time. But we're also live. And you guys don't need to sit here all day while I'm like moving everything around 5 million ways from Sunday. So we're just going to do it. So we're going to stick that guy like a rither. Just reading the comments. Like even, yeah. Like, again, it is the internet. People are unhinged, to say the least. But also, yeah, yeah, it doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. It's something really, if I'm being 100% honest, it's something that just kind of amuses me more than anything, because I know there are those that watch my content, or they watch just long enough, like when I put up a new video and it's within the first like 2 minutes and someone like immediately, like they're just lurking to like give me a thumbs down on every video I do, and I'm like, cool. But also, why? You know, like, I guess if it makes you feel better, I don't know. I don't know, man. People are weird. Also, don't forget, you can always, you can always cut your die cut bits. You know, edit them. Make them work for you. Let's do that. And that. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they like being tortured. Yeah, you know, we listen and we do not judge. People have some weird, not weird, different. I don't want to say weird because again, you know, people, as long as you're consenting adults, you know, and consenting adults, we'll leave it at that. But yeah, I think some people get a sick sense of joy out of, I don't know, watching my content, leaving weird comments, thumbs downing on everything, telling me that, you know, you're doing it wrong. I still need Kathy Zielski to send me that sound clip of her saying that. I need to add that so I can press that button where she's like, you're doing it wrong. Like, I'll just do that on like constantly. With everything I'm doing, I'll just be like, you're doing it wrong. Love it. Love it. Anyway. It takes all kinds, my friends. It takes all kinds. No, don't need to do that. Then we got that one, and we got this one. Do I want to add? Oh yeah, I want to like snip off. That little bit, because then we can like. Oh yeah, it's coming together. I need more Big Mama foam tape, which there it is. Yeah, like I said, it takes all kinds. But again, like I always say, because this subject does come up a lot. Sometimes I bring it up, sometimes others. In card making, specifically, most people are pretty darn awesome. There's always a few that pop out of the woodwork, but the vast majority are pretty awesome. And then those few that, whatever their reasons are, I just hopefully they get some therapy or I don't know, find stuff that like legit brings them joy. Cause yeah. Oh, want to add? No, I don't want to glue. The foam tape will keep him in place because we're gonna have to tuck that birdie in at some point. So we'll leave that sticking up for now. I'm okay with that because then we're gonna have this going there, and then yeah, tuck a couple leaves in there. I follow a home inspector whose line's not supposed to do that. Oh, yeah, I know. Some of that kind of stuff pops up in my feed, and I love that kind of stuff. Although also not really. It really freaks me out what people will do when they're, and not just DIYers, like professionals that, you know, build and renovate and do all the things, and it's just like, why? Okay. This is coming together. That. Oh yeah, that one will go under there as well, because this guy we want right on top. Like that. Do I want to tuck any more little bits? Stick them. Again, we got to remember, like, all this is getting cut off, which again freaks people out. But ooh, this one I think I might change him a little bit. If we do this, yeah. So we just put a bit of glue right there. There we go. Okay. Odd how these people who complain don't do their own vids likely don't understand. Yeah, some of it's jealous. There's a lot of factors. Yeah. And sometimes it's just people expressing just their opinion. I'm not talking about the ones that are like leaving like hate comments. There's some that people just expressing an opinion or making a request. But if you don't like actually make content yourself, people not understanding like the logistics of things. And yeah, and I say that because there's a lot of times people will make like certain requests and I was like, that is just not possible. It's just not possible, even things like the amount of requests people have made for like me adding a microphone for the unpaid intern who left for a minute. Kind of a logistical nightmare and also really expensive. Like, it's not that simple. Or like more camera angles, and it's like, again, not that simple, friends. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, see, we're not going to see his tuck because I'm probably going to tuck him in. I also want to be able to add a sentiment, which the sentiment's probably going to go there, is the plan. Again, method to the madness. Method to the madness. This one, actually, we might be able to sneak in, like... Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. Anywho, let's add... People seem awfully demanding about free content. Oh, yeah. Big time. It's... Again, thankfully, the vast majority, super awesome. But every once in a while, someone comes out of the woodwork and just makes... Over the years, I've had some pretty unhinged, like, requests, demands, etc. And I'm like, y'all, I am one person. I am one person. I only have a set amount of hours in the day. And I literally can only do so much. I would love to do more. I would love to do more. I'd love to put more out. But as it is, I can't keep up with everything. Okay. So a little bit of Big Mama foam tape just to even it out a little bit. And then we tuck that one in there. Because then when this one goes up, do I want to tuck another little... Why not? Why not? Okay. Now you're talking about what happened to the side camera you set up. You don't really show us the side. It's still here. It's just... Yeah. It's here. It's very difficult to do all of the camera switching when I'm one person. This is why, professional setups, you have a producer and camera crew and sound mixers and, like people doing all the things. I have two hands. I have the same thing that Kathy Zilski has, the foot pedal, where I can I just haven't had a chance to set it up so that I can switch camera angles. Cause yeah, the side camera, it's here. It is so fancy. Look at that side view. Isn't that amazing? I need to use it more, but yeah, it just is what it is. So yeah, it's cool, man. I have to literally stop what I'm doing to switch. So it's annoying. Yep. Because yes, in a perfect world as well, it'd be nice if the unpaid intern, we had it set up and then he could press the buttons to like switch camera angles and do all the things. But then that's really involved. And then I'd be yelling at him. Because I'd be like, wrong camera angle, Clyde. You know, but that's like, it's a lot. The amount of equipment and things and stuff and the way everything's like, I have everything set up for me, you know. He's sitting on my little gaming computer to help like do his little bit of moderating and stuff, but all the actual tech aspects of everything, that is 100% under my control, because I'm the one in here working. He's got a full-time job. He can't like be my permanent full unpaid intern like all the time, even though it would be great. No, stop adding. We're good. Chill, Amy. We don't need to add 5 million things. Okay, let's add this guy, because of course we're gonna add a ton of splatter. Yeah, it's just, there's all kinds of things I would like to do as well, you know, and I would like to change some of my filming setup, but again, everything is like attached with zip ties, a few prayers, I don't know, maybe a few hexes, I don't even know, and it's all extremely complicated, and I'm in a garage. I've got just everything is jury rigged, literally. It's jury rigged, it's precarious, and we don't like to mess with things because, yeah, karma likes to do its thing. Yeah, he's going to sit on top, I think. Yeah, because I'm a lot of sentiment. Yeah. Okay. So, the part that's going to freak a few people out. Ooh, I'm really going to have to cut this down. I did not trim my cardstock properly. That was great. We're really... well, I was just going to use scissors, but now I have to use my paper cutter because I need to even this out because that's going to drive me insane. So, let's just cut some of this off. Like that. And while we're at it, since I've got it out, I can do it for this too. There we go. That one's fine. That one's fine, because it'll just kind of tuck up when it gets put in the envelope. But yeah, for those that like absolutely, because like I said, I've had people go completely like hate mail over me trimming things off. The other thing you have to remember when it comes to, and this applies to anything, like just art in general, not just a card, but when you remove part of an image, a die cut, whatever, your brain just kind of automatically fills it in. You know, it's a weird sort of a thing. And there's like artists that have like really played with that in their art and having, you know, like an unfinished, like just sharp edge and whatever. So, yeah. I cut it off because then it's easier to fit in an envelope. You could always leave it on and just stick it in a bigger envelope. Whatever floats your boat, you know? But sometimes I also like just cutting it off. It just gives it something. I don't know, you know? So those are extra pieces. Don't need those right now. We're going to add splatter, of course. Do I want to add pink? I kind of do. Let's add pink splatter. I can do what I want. So much easier to find all my paints now that I've labeled them. Anyway. Actually, yeah, I use spun sugar and picked raspberry. Kitsch Flamingo is like right in between those, and that's actually like kind of the perfect color. So let's use Kitsch Flamingo with this. And of course, as is tradition, let me move stuff out of the way. Speaking of the haters, we got that, and then we need a splat box would help. Okay. And me. Okay, got that. I'm gonna leave my birdie off. I don't mind getting splatter on him. In fact, we'll add a bit of splatter to him. I want to do kind of heavy splatter first, and then we'll add the birdie. So, I also want to add. I do want to add white splatter. Let's do white first. Method to the madness. We'll do the paint, but first we'll do just some positively saturated or perfect, whatever. They have such long names. Positively perfect white splatter medium. Say that 3 times fast. You can also use picket fence, distress paint, white gouache, all the things. There's like so many options now, which I love, you know, because I love splatter. Do you need all the options? No. Do I? No. I just like having them. So the thing to always remember with the Simon's Positively splatter, these jars, they need to be stirred up. You can shake them. I just don't recommend it. But because when you shake them, it just gets everywhere. It's a mess. But the pigment settles to the bottom because it's liquid. And then we need my little fan brush. And then they should. Oh yeah, Fiddly Leaf is there. Fiddly Leaf exists. Everything I used is listed and linked. Should be good. It's in stock. I think it's in stock. I didn't even double check. I think it's in stock. I love that Fiddly Leaf. He's so perfect. Okay, my little fan brush. And then just splatter. And even on like white cardstock, you can see it.
Oh yeah, she's still soft.
Yep. Yep. Speaking of hate mail, if Simon Says Stamp retired a couple of like my favorites, like that Fiddly Leaf, they would get some hate mail from me. I'd be literally like, what the heck? But yeah, no, he's in stock because he is one of my favorites. I use him a lot. Okay, but yeah, anyway, I was saying, even white on white, which doesn't show up as much on camera, but you can see it in real life. It does add texture. So I'm always a fan. So I'm gonna add a good amount because I like it. So we got that. And then put lid back on so I don't knock this over because that's generally a given. I do like to at least partially dry when I'm adding multiple types of splatter. Usually when I'm filming and then editing, like doing it that way, I just set things aside, let it dry for a bit, and then I'll go and die cut. Like I do other things, but we're live. So then heat tool. And the only reason I like kind of drying some of the splatter is so that the multiple colors don't start like mixing because like some of the blobs are bigger and it annoys me. You could leave it, add 15 types of splatter and yeah, whatever floats your boat. Wonder what the oldest Simon product is that's still available. The Beautiful Flowers might be one of them. It's one of them. I don't know if it's the oldest. It would be things like some of the cardstock that Simon Says Stamp carries. Because some of those colors they've had since even before I started like working with them. And I've been working with them for like over a decade. Well over a decade. Many years. Many, many years. So yeah, it would be some of that, I think. I would... yeah, cardstock. They still have a few of their original inks on their website too. Some of those are really old too. Still popular. So... if they're able to restock stuff and keep it in, it's great. Okay, So we got a little bit of white splatter. Subtle. I'm okay with that. Subtle's okay. Now we'll add some Kitsch Flamingo Distress Paint. Because we can. Because you can't go wrong with a bit of pink splatter. If we do that. Oh, I wanted to. Yeah. Okay. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. We'll add a little bit of water. Don't need much. Yeah. A little bit of water. And then a bit of splatter. Yes. Yep. I'm liking it. So let me move this out of the way for a second. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit of pink splatter to our birdie. He was feeling left out. There we go. I like it. I like it. Does the heat tool have an effect on the glue? Not really. But again, I'm not sitting there with like, you know, the heat like directly. If I kept that heat like right on it, oh yeah, it'll start like melting the glue and the embossing, all the things. Keep it moving. Keep a distance. Everything is good. Oh, is the fiddle leaf fake out of stock?
Which one?
The fiddly leaf.
FIDDLY.
Oh, it is out of stock. Darn it. Apologies. They'll restock it. They'll restock it.
Oh.
You can click on the like notify me and then you'll get an email when it comes back in stock. Okay. So, of course we're going to add black splatter. Of course we are. So, I want that. I need to wipe up the pink paint. Oh no, I wasted a drop of paint. They're probably going to come arrest me. Anyway, I'm in a mood. Ah. But yeah, using your embossing tool to dry things, like I was saying earlier, more distance and you keep it moving. And you're good. Like this thing blows at a very high temperature because it'll melt. It'll strip paint, especially this one. It will literally strip paint. But it comes in handy to dry stuff. You just keep it moving and keep distance. It's not fully dry because, again, I got like blobs of paint, but that's okay. I wanted it just mostly dry because the rest of it can dry on its own. I don't care. Black splatter. Black splatter. This stuff, okay, I don't need this guy anymore. Simon's Pawsitively Perfect Black Splatter is insanely pigmented. Stains everything it comes in contact with. And also needs to be stirred up. It doesn't look like it because it is so pigmented, but there is pigment that settles to the bottom of the container. And this one especially, I would not shake this one because I've done it. I've also accidentally knocked it over with the lid on, thankfully. I would cry if I knocked it over without the lid on. But yeah, it just, I've like fused the jar shut from shaking it. So yeah. Oh, I need a wipe. So. I immediately clean up everything. Like my little spatula, I got it on my finger. Again, this black, we treat him with caution. And then a little bit lighter of a hand with the black. And those, again, that have watched me for a while, you know what I mean when I say, like, a light hand. This is me being demure and mindful with my splatter. You know? Like, mad respect to the content creators, like the other card makers that'll do, like, or hand draw, like Carly T. She does very clean and simple. Love her cards. And like she draws in her splatter with a marker because she'll just add like just the littlest bit. Because again, very clean and simple, and I love it. Mad respect for that because I'm just like, I get like a twitch when I try to do clean and simple, and it's like, but it needs more. So you know, but that's the beauty of it. Variety, and different tastes, and different looks, and just all the things. Okay, we're good. We're good. I need to move him for a second because I want to add a little bit of black splatter to this guy too before I put the lid on. Just a little bit, not a lot. Again, this is my version of a little bit, you know? Okay. That's good. That's good. Varieties, the spice of life. It is. And it's the beauty of all of it. Because, man, everything would be boring. And I've said this before. If we all liked the same things, if we all had the same favorite color, you know, if everything was the same, how boring. But like, that's the cool thing in card making is there's a million different people out there with a million different styles, a million different preferences. Some do clean and simple, some do hardcore, vintage, grunge, you know, Tim Holtz, etc., etc., etc. Some are all over the place like me, just, you know, 3 raccoons in a trench coat. That's the fun of it. That is the fun of it. So we got our birdie. And then our card, which all of that is wet. So all of that needs to dry. And we need to... Do I want to do the big... I think I do. Okay. This needs to dry. So I will probably use my... In fact, yeah, let's use the heat tool a little bit. Some people also get really mad about the heat tool during live streams, but y'all... Only so much I can do. So we'll speed on some of the drying because I do have a really bad habit of forgetting and then smearing everything, and that's not cool, man. Oreo thins are an abomination. I said what I said. Oreo thins taste like sadness.
Yeah.
Like, I hate them. Like, double stuff all the way. Although, honestly, they did something. I think it's palm oil. I think that's what they're adding more of to the filling. Because the last pack of Oreos I got, and they were double stuff. And they tasted like sadness. And I was like... I haven't bought a pack since. Like, also Oreos cannot be in this household because I will just like crush that and snort them basically. Like, I love Oreos. And yeah, but Oreo thins, boo, not a fan. If I'm going to have them, they need to be double stuff. The best ones though, and I have not found them in over 10 years now because we don't get all the crazy flavors of things up here in Canada like you guys in the States. the amount of flavors of things. I have a friend that always makes jokes because she's about the cereal. Because I'm like, why do you need 5,000 flavors of cereal? Anyway, pumpkin spice Oreos. They were so good. Oh, they were good. I love them. Love them. Have not seen them in 10 years, which is, again, probably a good thing. Because I would literally inhale an entire pack in a sitting easily. Because love them. Anyway, Birdie. Splatter's still not fully dry. We need to deal with the sentiment. Okay. Mega stuffed ones. Yeah. I think I tried a mega stuff and it was lit for me. I was like, okay, this is just too much of a good thing. But yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like the thing is too, when it comes to like the sound of the heat tool, that kind of stuff, like, and I get it too. Like people have issues with sounds or how a sound comes through. And that's something I'm very aware of because filming in a garage, the issues I've had with microphones over the years and finally having to get a very expensive one to make things at least sound decent. It's a process, but yeah, is what it is. Okay, sentiment. I'm just going to use the same stamp set. I wanted to use this one. The loved word. And then you are so. Those two. Now, I was going to white heat emboss these onto black cardstock. Yeah, let's just do it that way. Let's keep it simple. This one I might stamp with just black onto white cardstock. Yeah. This is the part I didn't fully flesh out in my head, in my brain space before I started, but man. Your mic. Yes, my mic does. This microphone does buffer and soften the sounds of my heat tool, which is another little bit of a perk. It also buffers some of the outside noise because I'm in a garage. That's also one of the many, many issues, but it can only do so much. And when I'm editing, when I'm live, it's a whole other thing. But when I'm editing my videos, I can only do so much. Once you start messing with the sound and stuff, I can spend hours and then it's just like, no, I'm just making a card. You know, this isn't a video that's going in the Louvre or, you know, like, it just is what it is. But anyway, okay. We're going to stamp this onto, I can just use my clear block for this guy. And I'm going to clear heat emboss. You don't have to do this. The only reason I'm doing this is because we're live and because otherwise I'll smear this because I'm going to stamp it in the Versafine Clear Nocturne. Talk about selling sugar. Zero sugar double stuff Oreos. Ew. The one thing I personally love, like Coke Zero, A&W Zero, the unpaid intern and I, we practically drink that stuff like it's water. Yeah. Not really, but we do drink a lot of it because, I don't like Diet Coke, diet drinks because, you know, that aspartame taste. But the zero version, Coke Zero, A&W Zero, here for it. Love it. But when it comes to like actual snacky snacks like cookies and things, no. I'm going to enjoy the full sinful. I don't like how food is. I don't like the conversation around that. Food is not sinful. You know, it annoys me. There's too many issues, especially as women. That's another rant I could get onto. Anyway, going to clear heat emboss this just so I don't smear it. Because that's what's going to happen. There it is. So my little anti-static powder tool, just doop, 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 doop. Because this ink it takes a while to dry. And you can just heat set it as well. That's fine. But yeah. Yeah. A&W Zero. It is amazing. I love it. And I'm now kind of regretting saying that in a live because I swear if like store starts, I don't have that level of power, thankfully. Although again, putting it out there, A&W, if you'd like to sponsor me,
Yeah, I know, right?
send me free root beer. I'm here for it. Dr. Pepper Zero is okay. I used to love Dr. Pepper, but I bought Dr. Pepper Zero and I was just like, But yeah, A&W Zero. Because I love root beer. Like we both love root beer. To the point where when we buy it, he gets a little case of it, I get a case of it. And then I get mad when he comes in here and takes any of mine. But he shares his with me. Yep. So I remind myself of that when I want to like throw something at him for stealing my root beer. Anyway. Stamped it. Claire embossing powder. I've seen stories, anecdotes of consuming too much zero. Again, everything in moderation. Like I said, we drink it like it's water, but not actually. Vast majority is water. I limit my intake, and so does he, to like max 2 a day. That's if we're feeling bougie, but like 1 max a day, because all that stuff. Moderation, folks. Okay, so that's heat embossed. So now I don't have to worry. I'm not going to smear it. We'll set him aside. We'll deal with him in a second. This guy I want to heat emboss onto black cardstock, which I had some right here. There we go. And same thing. I'm not even going to bother with my stamp positioner because it just doesn't matter. It doesn't, actually, because, again, this stamp has been used many times. It's very well loved. And it will be totally fine. And this is where anti-static powder is very imperative. Because on dark cardstock, it's a lot more obvious. So I've got that. Need to move that out of the way again. Knocking everything over. And then we have a soda stream. Yeah, I've never gotten into the soda stream. It's funny, I've really cut back on carbonated drinks. I didn't think I would, but I have my little, an A&W Zero here and there. I'll have an energy drink every once in a while, but yeah, up until I've just started cutting back on them, everything needed to be carbonated, and now I'm just like, eh. Okay, clear embossing ink. And then we stampy stamp. Let them sit for a second. Like that. And then the detail white embossing powder. Tap off the excess. And where did you go? There he is. There he is. Got most of it. I don't often get too finicky. A stray little bit here and there. There we go. Good enough. Good enough. The cost of sausage. Oh yeah, the price. That's another reason why we don't drink a whole lot. Because, yeah, this stuff's expensive. And even when it goes on sale, it doesn't go on sale for that much. So, yeah. Okay. Melt with the heat tool. Yep. No. Yep. Yep. The older I get and the older my eyes get, sometimes I'm like, not sure. Not sure? Okay. And then just I keep like a dedicated microfiber cloth, not one that I use to like clean my brushes, you know, that kind of stuff. So there's no ink in this because I've done that. And it's like I go and went like this and there's like ink all over the white embossing and it's just like great. So that to just buff away that anti-static powder like that. And then I can just like that so that I can use some sentiment label wafer dies. I'm go to die cut these guys. Will this one work? Yes, yes it will. And then the smallest one will work for the little sentiment. Or sub-sentiment, whatever. Y'all know what I mean. Boop. Okay. They used to say that the carbon bubbles inside your bones. They used to say all kinds of things. You know, we've come a long ways. They also used to give women, you know, LSD and all kinds of stuff back in the day for their hysteria. And people still like to spread the rumor that, you know, if you swallow chewing gum, it doesn't leave your digestive system. And it's like, it's going to be stuck to your ribs for the next 7 years. I remember that one. The kids brought out, Kaylee brought that up because someone was talking about like things their mother used to tell them. And it was like, I remember that one. Okay. So taping these in place so they don't shift when I run them through my die cut machine. Okay. Just making sure. Yep. Everything looks decent. You know, good enough anyway. So then I can die cut these. Like, so make sure I don't have, because that's the other thing too sometimes, if there's any ink on my die cutting plate, because that happens at times. Don't want that transferring. And then we can die cut this guy. Okay, so we have our sentiments. And then there we go. So now we've got that. How exactly does gum get your ribs through your digestive system? You'd be, you know, the lack of the lack of education, especially on the human body and how it works.
I figure I just have some gum gnomes living in me. They use that gum to build their houses.
I know, right? Yep. Because, yeah.
And every 7 years they need to build a new house.
Every 7 years the gum gnomes need to build. Oh, my goodness. Yep. Yes. And yeah. Anyway. So many directions I could go. So many rants I could go on about many things. We're not going there because So. How am I gonna... I don't want to trim these just yet. Okay. Gotta figure out my placement of all the things, you know? So, we're gonna cut that there. Yep. And then I'll just cut this on an angle because I just kind of like how that looks. So we can just eyeball it. Yep, that works. And then do the same thing with that. And then dupe. Okay, so got our card front. We has our little birdie. We have our little sentiments, because I was gonna like maybe stick them like right there. Kind of tuck them underneath this a little bit. I'm trying to be careful in case there's any wet splatter. For the most part, it all looks dry, but you know, because we could sit him on top of the sentiment like that, or we could stick him kind of center. Oh, he's very centered on this card. That wasn't the plan, but I'm here for it. Dupe. Where do I want to go? Sorry, y'all. It's just like my brain, and then I can hear the neighbors' dogs losing their mind. Which, now that the weather is nicer, happens constantly. Because everybody's out and about, and then all the dogs are out going for walks and stuff, and they're all yelling at each other. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, we've got this. We could stick our little birdie. Could kind of tuck him in like that. And then, oh, he's gonna just fit. I'm here for it. Okay. So, people used to use Coke when it was affordable to remove rust. We used to use, I used to work in a previous lifetime at 7-Eleven. And it was one of the big ones that had like full service, like we had a full service gas station and, you know, the Slurpee machines and the drinks and hot food and all of it. And we used to use Coke Slurpee to clean out the coffee pots. Because back then we had the big, you know, and like make fresh coffee, all that kind of stuff. And removing bug guts off windshields and things like that, or like the fenders of your vehicles when it was really stubborn. Coca-Cola, man, strips that stuff. It was great. It was great. And yeah, it works. It works. And yeah, everyone needs to work service jobs like that. I had some of the craziest experiences back in the day. So yeah, do not miss that job. Let's put it at that. Okay. So, Coca-Cola from, yeah, the good Coke in glass bottles, especially from Mexico because it has the cane sugar. Oh yeah, it's, our Costco carries that stuff, and we buy that kind of stuff, like, again, once in a blue moon, because it's like a treat, because you're literally just drinking pure sugar. But yeah, okay. This is gonna work. Do I want to kind of pop? Yeah, I'm gonna pop him up with a little bit of foam tape. Yep. And then I read a book recently titled Salt, the World History of Things People Pickled, or just loaded salt. Oh yeah, salt's, you know, to preserve stuff. Salt is a wonderful thing. People just, again, need to use it in moderation. Okay. So, we're going to pop up our sentiment with some Big Mama foam tape. While I'm doing this, you can pick a winner.
What?
You just right out of it. While I'm doing this, you can pick a winner.
Okay. Sorry.
You had that like deer in the headlights look. He was busy having snacks, not paying attention. not doing his unpaid job.
I was having some crunchy.
You were having some. What are you eating?
No, it's that cereal.
Oh, that cinnamon.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch for diabetics.
Yeah, the healthy.
Yeah.
The healthy Cinnamon Toast Crunch is basically what it is. That stuff's disgusting. I'm glad you like it. I can't. I can't do it, man. Anyway, he was enjoying a snack and didn't realize he had a job to do. Okay. That one. Okay, this one I'm going to glue down. Okay, figuring out all the things, y'all. Boop, 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 boop. So then this, we're going to move him for a second. This one we're just going to glue into place like that. There we go. Yes, so we got that. And then our little birdie, he's going to be basically kind of sitting. There we go. I got random little like, there we go. He's going to be sitting right like that. Yeah. Yeah. We can just tuck him right in. Do I want to pop him up? Yeah, we could pop him up with a little bit of foam tape. Why not? Why not? Where's my foam tape? There it is. Okay. So, snacks are important. Yes, snacks are, especially for him. And I don't mean just like, oh, his little snacky snacks. Like, he needs to eat consistently. So, yeah. And instead of the peanut M&Ms of the old days, it's more healthy snacks.
Yep.
With a few good ones thrown in for moderation, because, yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with an Oreo cookie every once in a while. Okay, so put a bit of Big Mama foam tape on the back of this guy. And then we can pop him into place. Like, there we go. Like that. And then tuck a little bit under there. There we go. Look at our little birdie being all adorable. I love the color selection. I love how it turned out. Sometimes winging it works. And then we can add a little bit of bling. Why not? Why not? I got all kinds of bling. Let's add some bling. Don't want those. Ooh, the gunmetal might work real nice. Do I want that? Overthinking, because I have so many options of bling. Ooh, that would be pretty too.
I have to go pick people up soon.
You're gonna abandon me? How could you?
Getting the kid pickup.
Yeah. No. Ooh, the pink. Okay, let's see the pink. Let's see the pink. Okay. I'll have to add links to some of these things because I didn't link the Kitsch Flamingo paint. And then some Bubblegum Positively Dazzling gems, my friends. Because of course we can add a little bit of that. So we can tuck one in under there. We can stick one like that and like that. We can tuck one right over here and put one there. Put one like that. Yep. Yep. That works. That works. Okay. Purple bling would be great. Simon Says stamp does not have, that is what they need to get a better purple, for their Positively Dazzling gems. I think it's the lilac shade. It's more of a pinky. It's not purple. Like if they could get one that's like a purple, I would be so happy. Seriously, so happy. But yeah, they don't. Do I have other embellishments? Yes, but I'm not digging through my 15 lifetimes worth of embellishments to. I have things in the stash that would match exactly. Probably multiples from many brands. But I keep a container of all the Simon stuff like right beside me because I use it so often. And yeah, they don't have a good purple. So annoyed. They need to get one. I would use it a lot. The gunmetal would look nice too. This will look nicer when I tilt it. Straight down, these things always look a little like because they're glass. Like they're glass with the silver like on the back. But when you tilt, that's when you tilt them, And then all my lights also kind of make things look a little weird. But in real life, they're very pretty. Right now on the camera, they just look a little off. Trinity Sound. Oh yeah, I've got tons. Trinity, Pretty Pink Posh, like all the brands. I have so much bling. It's another thing on my to-do list. I need to organize it all. Because is it organized? Of course not. Anyway, that, my friends, is the finished card. We got one of my all-time favorite stamp sets. And for those that weren't watching in the beginning, the Beautiful Flowers playlist, I have it linked in the description below. After this live's over and YouTube's done messing with it, I'll post it in the end screen. So for those watching on replay, it'll be at the very end in the end screen. You can just click on it. But yeah, I got a playlist with dozens and dozens of videos using this stamp set because it's my favorite. One of my favorites. And then my little birdie and sentiments and like a splatter. Yeah, my lights are just being weird. My camera's being weird today. And then the inside, we're just going to keep simple. I could have stamped another sentiment, but we're just going to keep it simple with it stamped with the light pink, the spun sugar ink. Because I do love that stamp. So, love. This was fun. And I'm glad I went live. Because like I said, I really wanted to have a nap. And instead, I'll curl up later if the unpaid intern has the time to update all my mods so I can play some video games and just like turn my brain off for an hour. Let me move to there we go. Okay. Who will I be mailing this card to?
This winner is Deborah from California.
Deborah in California. No idea when I'll get stuff mailed out. I got all caught up and mailed out up until right before last Sunday's. So, you never know. But I'll always do my little thanks to the unpaid intern, thanks to the disembodied hand.
All right, I got a jet.
You got to run?
Yep.
Okay, well, timing is good.
It was.
Because I'll clean up my mess and then get to other things. So, I appreciate you guys tuning in. And then, yeah, I will, like I always do, I always commemorate when I mail stuff out because it is a big deal when I actually actively leave my house. It's, it is what it is. But, yeah, I will take the photos. I saw the comment earlier. I take the photos and then I like update the thumbnail so you can like see the card in the thumbnail. I do the blog post with all of the photos, supply list, yada, yada, yada. Like, I get there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to clean up my mess. And then, yeah. I have videos coming this week. No idea yet if I'll do any bonus lives this week. I say this every week because my life is chaos. Literally. It's chaotic. Next Sunday, I'm not sure what we're going to do. Because I know I normally do, 2 p.m. Central Sundays. Like, that's our schedule. Next Sunday, Next Sunday, I'm teaching. I'm doing the Altenew Secret Garden Retreat, and my class is on Sunday, and my class ends like right before I'm supposed to go live. So if I go live, it might be a little later. I'll be playing it by ear because, yeah. Might take a rain check. I might skip it. It's all going to depend. Like teaching classes like that. This is only my second time ever, literally, doing a professional, and it's a totally different vibe. It's great and it's awesome. It's just, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I might be just completely wiped out afterwards. So we'll see. It's going to depend on how I'm feeling afterwards, because I might need to just like curl up and sleep it off after I'm done my class. But yeah, so I'm doing that on Sunday. So we will see. We will see how things go with that. But yeah, I've got videos coming. Pretty Pink Posh's May release comes out later this week. It is adorable. It's on their like socials and stuff. They're posting sneak peeks and everything. So I'll be doing videos with that. I'll be doing live streams with that as well. And then yeah, that's it for the moment. I'll do all the photos, social medias, blah, blah, blah for this a little later. Like let everything fully dry. I think it's all dry at this point, but yeah. Photos and editing and blog posts and social media and all the things. So I will get to that. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And then yeah, last call in a sense, and I posted below. He can't post it because he's gone in the chat, but it's below the $15 off code at Simon Says Stamp, because that ends tonight. So that's over at 11:59 Eastern. So there's a few more hours. There's like, as of right this moment, there's like 6-ish hours left before that code is no longer, good. So yeah, the info on that's below. And that's it. I don't have any other housekeeping or anything life-changing to share. Other than, I appreciate you guys. And like I said at the beginning, happy Mother's Day to everyone. And for those that, there are a lot of people that today is a very difficult day. So hugs for that. And yeah, I'm gonna go clean up my mess. My desk is just covered. I've got stuff it's everywhere. Big surprise. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to go get myself a snacky snack, and then deal with life and dishes and food and, the things we got to do. And remember the links that I need to edit. So I will do that as well. And then just stay tuned. Because, lots of videos coming. Mix and matching. Old stuff, new stuff, whatever's suiting my mood and floating my boat. So I will see you guys later. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!